Greetings, and good afternoon, Juneteenth family. How are we doing out there? It's been a long while. As you know, I was not able to be with you ladies and gents last month, but we had my lovely sister Kathleen Greeley, who is my co-host and co-moderator here for the Juneteenth family, and I'm now stepping up and holding space and taking place for her today. Today we have a great conversation coming for you, Future You Investments, with Jennifer with a G and Sister Renee. I am going to bring them up so I can introduce them respectively and have them say their last names. I do not like to mess up people's last names. It's very important to me, as I hope that you all understand that. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Jennifer.
How are you?
I'm very, very well. Please tell me, Renee, I want to pronounce your name properly. Is it Riquena?
It's Rakenna. Easier.
Riquena, like stop being fancy, right? And Jennifer with a G, Burnback. Is that how I say your last name?
You did it. Yes, I applaud you. Part of being my brand is having everyone massacre the spelling and pronunciation of my name. So it's good. You did a great job. I still can't say Renee's last name.
But thank you for joining us today, ladies. We have welcomed Renee and Jennifer in to share with us what they have going on in the world. Would you say moderate a talk together? Is it a talk that you ladies consider Future You Investments to be, or is it a workshop? What do you ladies call it exactly?
Well, Future You Investments is really just some sort of, it's really a philosophy, I would say, right, Renee? We don't have a workshop or anything produced yet. What we've been doing, though, in our own sides of the world, so it's our own sides of the lane, is I work with people on personal branding and business branding, and Renee can talk about what she does with financial literacy. But together, we recognize that a lot of the work we do with our clients are very similar in that it's about putting together your goals for the future and making the time and investments in your future so that you can achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. Renee, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, that's absolutely a good way to put it, because what we're trying to do is put some information out there for people who are either starting out or a little bit further along the way in their journey. And maybe they need some direction and guidance, but through some of our life experiences and the things that we see happening with other clients, we can help guide them in that direction. But it's all about the mindset.
Yep.
Super. That is beautiful. So before we dive into that amazing conversation, philosophy, sharing of your philosophy, I love it. I'm so excited to hear, what you ladies have come up with together, because sometimes everyone doesn't understand that the branding and the investing, how they can actually work together and how they actually align. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to dispelling some of the stories that are out there about money and how we operate from those stories that we have been taught for different generations. Before we dive into that conversation, I would love it if you both just take a little few minutes to share who you are in the world and what you've been doing on your own, and then we'll merge together and start the conversation and dive deeper.
Excellent. Renee, you want to go first?
Yeah. So I am Renee Rakenna. I am a CPA. And I'm also a financial advisor and a financial literacy coach. And what I do is I bring to the table and to every conversation all of the years of experience that I've had in some realm of finance to help people either individually or with their businesses feel more confident about what they know and what they don't know, and also break all of those bad beliefs that they gained over life through either their parents or some other mechanism that isn't necessarily serving them and helping them progress in their financial journey and get to achieve the goals that they want to have. So I'm there to help dispel the myths, teach them new things, and then guide them along with whatever their goals and dreams are, because we all have them. Sometimes we forget that we have them, but I can put them back on track and help them achieve everything that they want.
I love her.
Right?
I'm like,
her. That's absolutely lovely.
I tell her all the time, I'm running away with her.
So excited to have met you. Where have you been all my life?
Oh my
She's
God.
here now. That's all that matters, right?
Right?
Yeah.
And how about you, Jennifer? Please tell us.
I will. So my brand is Jennifer with a G. I was born Jennifer with a G, and that's what people always knew me as. No one ever remembered my last name. And the thing is this, I worked in television for 30 years in different roles. I worked on branding, writing, publicity, marketing for brands like Nickelodeon and Bravo. And at some point in my career, I didn't want to do that for TV anymore. I wanted to do it for small business owners, entrepreneurs, career changers, people pivoting, just anything, because I have reinvented myself so many times. I went to 3 different colleges. I changed my major 5 times. I just rattled off a bunch of careers I had within TV industry. And I personally love change, and I love pivoting, and I love freedom is really like the number one thing to me. Is the most important thing to me is freedom. And I've been in situations where you feel trapped or you kind of lose yourself. I can tell you, just as a mom, there's this whole period of time where I don't even know how I dressed or what happened. I still haven't pulled that back together. But you know who you are as a kid, and then slowly you start accumulating labels and you start stripping away your truest essence. So as a writer, marketing writer, and as a branding consultant, and my marketing is about messaging, I like to work with people to get back to their essence, to get back to their truth, their authenticity, all those buzzwords we're all sick of hearing, but they are really what will ultimately make your brand shine, stand out, and succeed, because it's from your truest self and your truest passion and the skills that you're the greatest at and love using. And that's what I like to help people with.
Whew.
You're crying. You're crying. I'm crying.
Listen, for me, I know that a lot of times in life, when we don't know what we don't know, you just don't know it. But once you do know things, and once you do find out, or you find people that can assist you, aid you, or help you, like something that Renee said that really rung for me was replacing it with something else. Because a lot of times we'll take something away, we'll give up something, we'll let go of something, and don't always have something to put in place, which can leave us a lot of different things come up for me. It can leave you anxious, it can leave you distraught, it can leave you feeling unfree and not free. It can definitely make you feel trapped. So
Vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. So now, ladies, please do tell me, future you investments, what is it's a philosophy, and I hear of the goals that you guys have apart. What is the goal together with future you investments, and what you ladies want the world to receive from that? I know you have some points, the time to go off-roading, personal branding, and financial literacy. I want to hear more, and I'm actually going to come off camera, and I'm going to let you ladies be on camera for a while, and I'll come back in shortly. But I'm going to pass it over to you ladies, and thank you for blessing us.
Thank you, Jamie. So future you investments is more about, it's not a financial investment necessarily. It's how are you investing in yourself so that you arrive to your journey in the time frame that you want and in the manner that you want. So it's all about, how do I determine who I am, what my whys are, what's my purpose in this world, what's my passion, and how do I find somebody to help me identify those things? Because like Jamie just said, you only know what you know, and sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. So you need exposure, and you need a conversation with people to be able to help you unwrap and unbox all of those things that are important to you. So what Jennifer and I do is we sit with people and really try to understand and get to the core of them and help them understand what it is that they want to achieve, where they are in their lives right now, and what's driving you. What is it that's making you wake up every day? And if there's nothing that's exciting you yet, let's figure and scratch the surface and try to get to that. And the next step is, once we figure that out, it's the mindset. How do we figure out how to put you in the right direction so that it makes you want to get up every day, and you now see purpose in the world and your passion? And then through that, she's going to help you brand, which she'll go into more detail. But then I will help you with the financial side as well, because It could be a business opportunity. It could be a personal finance situation. And maybe you're ready to make a transition from one portion of your life to another, but the finances need to be in order as well. Or you need to at least be observing what's going on with the finances so that you can make that transition and not be vulnerable, not feel stuck, not feel trapped, not feel confused, because finances are a huge part of our lives. There's no way to escape it. So that's what we bring to the table together. And then sometimes we separate that. So if somebody needs more of my side versus more than Jennifer's side, or they'll ask for us to meet together, we can handle anything that comes about with that. But Jennifer, why don't you explain a little bit more about what you see Future You Investments meaning?
Yeah, I actually like to take a step way back. I really like to talk to teens and tweens, actually, because when I was talking about labels before, you're given a promise at a young age that if you get good grades and go to a good college, you'll get a good job, you'll meet someone, you'll get married, you'll have kids, and then life's great. And it's not true. It's not true. Don't listen to your parents. There's also a lot of stuff. I mean, I think it was more for older generations than our generation and younger generations. But there was a lot of women who were like, your choice is nurse or teacher, or maybe men have been raised in a way where it's like, you're the one who has to be, you've got to raise your family. You have to make the most money. And because of that, people follow what they think is their dream or their goals. But it's really almost like a place. It's almost like direction given out of fear, or just it's very restrictive. So the reason I bring that up is because whether you're just starting out, just graduating college, just getting into your first job, or you're in your 50s and you're like, this, I don't know what just happened, but act 2 has to be different, whatever it is. Or maybe you're just a little stuck and you're like, I've been going good so far, but I feel like I'm out of energy. I need a little more fuel or a new spark or something like that. All those things at the end of the day, I think, come back to this total centered place of who you are. And the reason that we mention off-roading is because it's exactly that. I mean, we're always on a path. And then at some point there's a fork in the road and you can go left or right. And you can, you could follow your GPS. You could, this one sounds like it's more less traffic. This one, but we don't pay tolls this way, whatever it is. But the off-roading idea, like that freedom that you think about with off-roading, like imagine being in traffic and then in a car that you could just be like, I'm just going off into the woods and I'll see you guys later and I'm going to still get to my destination. That's what this is all about. It's the excitement and the risk and the adventure of breaking out of these lanes and just really making something exciting happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it is about lanes because we're always on a path to go somewhere. So you have to figure out, what can I concentrate on? My brain can only manage so many things at once. So I need somebody also to step in and hold my hand sometimes, give me a little guidance, put me on a path, but maybe they can even take some things off of my plate for a while and they can go off and handle that while I'm focused on something else. So this way it doesn't become overwhelming. And life is meant to be lived. It's a journey, right? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you're going to go through ups and downs and make all sorts of turns and corners. It'll bring you back around to where you're supposed to be, but everybody arrives in the time that they were supposed to arrive there. That's what I believe.
Agreed. So, and in those destinations, just going with the branding thing, if you think about someone like Madonna, let's say, if you think about her many millions of, iterations of who she is or who she's been, all those things just prove to you that you can always turn, you can always change, you can always reinvent your story and how you want to, present yourself. And I really do feel that everything that you do inside, all of your inside, just being able to speak your truth, and then it really does link to the whole financial success, because you're so happy and you're attracting exactly the kinds of things you should be attracting.
That's good. So let's talk about, what does it mean and how do you make things happen for yourselves? Everybody has some sort of spiritual awareness, but what does that mean when you're thinking about the things that you want in life and the situation that you're in, and you want to actually move from one place to the next? How do you make that happen? And Jennifer is very good at understanding mindset And how do I make sure that I'm in the right place mentally all the time? And I'm sometimes manifesting, or at least praying for, some people would say, the things that I want and the things that I deserve and the things that I would like to have happen to me. So, Jen, why don't you talk a little bit about how we make our dreams come true? And then we'll go into what does that mean to define yourself with the branding, and then I'll finish up with the finance portion for this.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little story about a time I was stuck. I was very stuck. I always was very unique, and I knew that about myself. And even though I didn't fit in the box, I kind of liked that about myself. It's just who I was. But I did have a job for a while where it was just brutal, and I didn't feel allowed to be me. I felt punished for being me. And it really broke me for a while, and I had to claw my way out of that. And really, the thing is this, and I'll tell you a little bit more. But one of the things that came towards the end of that journey was I blurted out to a friend of mine, I need to save myself. And in that statement, everything in my life truly changed. Like it was like the universe heard me, and it flipped everything. And with that said, it was, things like, I need to get a new job so I can get out of this job, or I need, my partner to make more money so I could take a risk, or I need this to happen for this to happen. It was like a list of like everything was a contingent on someone else having a power over me. And at the end of the day, I recognized that that's, the old Wizard of Oz, or the Wiz, whichever version you like best. I like the Wiz best. The power was in you all along, Dorothy, right? She could have gone home anytime she wanted, damn it. But, going back to that story, one thing I want to talk about with what I do as a messenger, as a writer, and I know, Renee, you believe in this too, and we'll talk about this too, but the power of words is insane. It's insane. And when I say the power of words, I'm talking about what you watch on TV or movies, what you read, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with, what you visualize, and how you talk to yourself. Those all have a giant impact on you and your everything you're attracting and the direction you're heading. So I recognized that I had been telling a really old story, and it was continuing to bring up some trauma, and I needed to undo that. And so I kind of went dark for a year, and didn't really see friends, even though I liked them. But I was like, I need to be in different conversations. I need to surround myself with different voices. I need to fill my head with different voices. I need to redo the narrative in my head. And with that, I started, being very purposeful about my time, listening to, podcasts like Oprah's older Super Soul Sundays. Lately, she's been playing her old episodes, which are okay. But the older Super Soul Sundays, her master class, listening to people's stories of resilience and how they got out of it, reading books, self-help books, business books, whatever. And just also making myself available to new connections, new friends, new coworkers, people that I could learn from and be inspired by, because the people I was surrounding myself with, as much as I love them, were kind of having similar situations to me, hating their job or mad at their spouse or whatever it was. And when I started to purposely, become present and aware of those words, that really was a giant game changer for me. And I see it with all the clients that I work with too, because again, we start telling stories, we put it on repeat, and next thing you know, it's like a record. It's just stuck in that little groove, and it's very hard to get out of until you choose to, and then it's not that hard. It takes a little while, but it's not that hard.
Yeah. So, as you told your story of being stuck in work, I was stuck in my career as well, and I had the belief system from my parents of, go to school, get good grades, get a good job. You need to go to good school. You have to do all of these things, and you find a job and you stick with it for the rest of your life. And, what I'm finding is that there are many people where that whole scenario didn't necessarily work out the way that it was planned for them. So I did go to school. I did all the things that my parents wanted me to do, but I was never happy in the career that I chose. I chose that career because it was a safe career. So I chose to become a CPA and an accountant because the world will always need a CPA and an accountant, right? But that was never my passion. My passion was something else. But because of circumstances that were happening in the economy that I had no control over, I chose that career path as opposed to something else. So through my journey of my career for the last few decades, yes, it was a great career. It makes great money, and it checked all the boxes that my parents wanted, but I wasn't happy. So finally, one day I just said, I'm really unhappy. In my state of prayer, I was saying, God, I need something different. I need a rescue because I am physically and mentally exhausted from this company I'm working with and the industry overall in the manner that it works. I need something different for myself. And I got a call within a week from somebody I hadn't spoken to in over a year telling me about I can do something else with my career that's going to make me happy, that I would be more than happy to walk away from what I'm doing. So I had to believe in myself in terms of, do I think that I can do something different than what my parents wanted me to do? Would I be okay saying to them, that's not going to serve me for the rest of my life? And do I think that I can actually wake up every day and power myself without somebody else pushing behind me to go out and do something different? And that's when I had to take the leap of faith. And you took that as well. And now when we each individually are meeting with people in this world, we're hearing similar stories of people who are either unhappy in their career, they feel trapped, and it could be for any number of things. They feel trapped in though they've put so many years into that business or that career or that education that they're afraid to walk away from it because they feel like a failure, but you're never a failure. This life, like I said, is a marathon, not a sprint. So everything that you learn every day just compounds onto the next thing. And it actually helps you to learn more and appreciate what it is that you're going to achieve when you finally get to the end of that journey. So I like when, Jennifer and I originally connected because we think similarly. Even though we're in different industries, we think the same way in terms of, if you're not happy, it's up to you to figure out how to make yourself happy. Nobody else can do that for you. So that comes with the new mindset. You have to unwind the old thinking, get rid of the old beliefs that aren't serving you and push them to the side and just know that it's going to be better.
And I want to add two things what you said, Renee. The first one was, when you talked about the prayer and it was similar to my moment of like, I need to save myself. I learned something about myself last year that I apparently am not pessimistic. I'm skeptical. Okay. So there were certain things that in my head, I guess I believe that could happen or I wanted them to happen. But when you don't feel it in your body, or you could feel like the pain somewhere in your body, it's blocked. Okay. So in your moment of prayer, you were at a place where you were probably, there's, you were in a state of flow. You were releasing. You stopped fighting the river and trying to make it go in the other direction. Like you were like, I give up on trying to make this career work or make myself happy here. I give up. And that I want to bring back, unfortunately, back to the back to Wizard of Oz, but the word surrender. Because surrender, when you hear the word surrender, sometimes you hear it and you think of like, it's giving up. And it's a negative word sometimes. But when you really think about it, surrender Dorothy, if she had just like, again, let it go and accepted things, we would have gotten home faster, right? Same thing with surrendering. Sometimes, whether it's your current career isn't working out, or for those of you who are trying to find a job and you just keep getting no's or just ghosted, let it go and try. This is again the off-roading, right? So that was like one thing, and I can talk a little bit more about that later on in this conversation. And there was something else you said that now I'm forgetting. Sorry. There was another point you said that I wanted to make, but I guess I'll just tell you a little bit more about the surrender and the let go thing. But yeah, if there's something that you feel like, I can't get, well, here's a bad word, right? I can't get a job. Let me tell you something. I took a class years ago with this woman who was a hypnotist. Okay. And she was explaining to us that your body does what your brain tells it to do. So when you lose your keys, if you're walking around your house saying, I can't find my keys, you're signaling your brain to not find your keys. Did you ever notice that you finally find your keys when you're not thinking about it, you're not looking or whatever? it's because you're telling your brain not to find your keys. Now, I'm not saying that that fully works for I can't find a job, but at the same time, there's something about saying those phrases that you're kind of blocking yourself. And maybe there's something that pops up in front of you that you're just not seeing because you're so blocked, right? Or my advice often for those kinds of situations is, volunteer, find a place where someone wants to try out your skills. They just need extra hands so you can build up your resume if you don't have it in a place where exactly you have the skills you want yet. And these are the kinds of things I do also with the personal branding, is helping people rewrite their narrative, rewrite their resume, rewrite their LinkedIn profile so it's aligned with what they are trying to do. You know what I mean? And add in those things that maybe you don't have the skill, maybe you didn't do something for 6 years, but you do your own social media marketing. You have enough likes and posts. Like you could start to like build upon that and say, well, I do have the experience. Who's someone else to tell you that they haven't done something?
It's all about your worth.
Yeah.
This conversation is going amazingly. I did want to share just a comment and it actually speaks to what you ladies are saying. It's about the old paradigms that can bring up old traumas. Listening to new programming, which is what you ladies are bringing to us today, helps to rewire your thinking and language that empowers you such that you are no longer attached to old ways of thinking. And what had also come up for me, Jennifer with a G, while you were talking, is that what I heard was you saying the power of word. Like we're told that words have power, but we don't really grasp how it shows up in our lives. And it's in those spaces and places that I've recognized it and seen it. So it's like the more we say we can't do something, the more we actually can't, because the power of that word, it's like we're sort of like how Renee was speaking about manifesting. It's manifesting what you can't have and can't do from using the word can't. And that's one of the stories that I found later in life that I love. So when you spoke, Jennifer, about talking to tweens and loving speaking to tweens, now while I understand that life brings us just what we're supposed to have when we're supposed to have it, there's always that tween in me that's the one who reached out and said, where have you been all my life? It's like, I'm okay having met you today versus never. But when we can find these things, the earlier we find them in life, our quality of life. I just know I always love to see young folks learning these things that the three of us, I do different types of healing work and assisting, and you ladies do different types as well. But the people that we can meet and impact and affect, the younger they are, the quality of their lives, they can actually be the word that had come up earlier, which is happy.
Mm-hmm.
With whatever they choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I would just say, when I at my computer I had a quote and a picture at my computer when I was in those dark days that I was just referencing. And the quote, I have it written down, I wanted to share it with you. It's from this American Cuban French writer who I actually didn't know, and I should because I was a literature major, but I don't. And her name is Anais Nin. Is that how you pronounce it? See, I've asked her names too, Jamie. But the quote is this: "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." So a lot of people, you're so afraid to be yourself or blossom or go for what you want to go that you're in this pain. And I'll just add that I had a picture at my desk of me when I was 19 playing kickball in the summer at my parents' house, barefoot. And that picture to me was a reminder of every day I was like, I need to get back to her because that's who I am. That is who I am. And I needed to get back to her. And she was, if you even look at some of your younger pictures of yourself, there's a lot of healing around healing your inner child wounds, things like that. But having that, some picture of you from your younger years where you're just so sparkly and so happy and excited, and having that in front of you to get yourself back there if you're not there right now is really powerful.
I love that. Will you please, I want to be able to drop that quote inside of the chat because I'm sure it will serve others as well. And I wrote down, and the day came when the...
Oh, do you want me to, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. It's a famous quote from this famous woman that I can't pronounce her name or tell you what she's ever written besides that quote, but she was at my desk. And I love her.
Then to blossom. I am going to drop that in the chat while you ladies continue the conversation, so that way our community is able to take it away for themselves.
Yeah, Renee, you have a story like that too?
Yeah, so what you think about, you bring about, and what you think about expands. So you should eliminate the negative words from your thought pattern and your speech, because your mind can't distinguish between good and bad. So when it's out there thinking about the things that it wants, if I say, I want more debt, or I'm in debt and I can't get out of debt, all that you get is more debt. So you have to always be thinking in the positive and in the future tense, so that your mind only knows the happy things and the things that it wants to go out and get more of. So if it's money, if it's happiness, if it's a relationship, whatever it is, always think of that in the positive. And just like, you go out and you buy a white car and you say, well, a lot of people don't have white cars. Now, all of a sudden you're on the road and every car is white, right? Now you notice it because you're realizing that there's a part of your brain, your subliminal, it's called a reticular activating system. It's out there and brings the things to you that you were thinking of. So more is now coming to you. So whatever you want more of, you have to think about it in the positive sense, and it more will manifest itself for you. It will be attracted to you. So that's where your happiness comes from. Whatever it is that you want, you have to speak about it and think about it and embrace it in a positive way. And that's also about the mindset, because as people are working with Jennifer and myself, we can only coach you so much. We can't make you do things. We can only tell you what's in your best interest based on where you want to get. It's like the way that GPS works. GPS is only working if you tell it where you want to go, right? You can't just say, I want to go somewhere, and GPS just picks a place for you. That's like us. We're going to help you get there, but you need to think about what it is that you want and where you want to be, and we'll put you on the path to get there. But along the way, we're going to unlock that part of your brain that's preventing you because you might be afraid. For many reasons. It could be financial. It could be, I tried this before and it didn't work. My parents tell me it's not going to work. Your best friend has his own fear and he's casting that onto you, telling you that you can't do it. So you have to be really careful. Like she said, of those 6 people you were involved in, you have to understand who has your best interest and who will help you get to that happy place for yourself, and who's going to help you manifest whatever it is that you want. So I had to figure out, there's a lot of people, especially when you're going to try something new, they're like, that won't work. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to break a leg. All right, well, I've broken a leg before. I healed, right? I'm okay. The good thing I remember is it was fun back then. So that's just part of life, learning.
And Renee, you just made me think about, when you were just talking about what you think about, what you attract, and putting out plans like a GPS, that kind of thing. Renee and I have talked about, and Jamie, I'm sure you've done this too, like vision boards. If you think about a vision board and putting together something what you want. But what I want to talk about with Renee, really probably could talk about even more, is creating a vision board from a place of scarcity versus abundance is very different. So to Renee's point, in years where, struggling a little bit more with the money, creating a vision board, about getting out of debt or whatever, again, I could hear tension, or I couldn't take a deep breath. I could feel that in my heart, that didn't feel like it was possible for me. I didn't feel like it was meant for me. Right. So I put that out there. It came from a place of fear, and it also came from a place of disbelief that it's even possible to happen. The things that I did put on the vision board back then that did come true were things that, I guess I did have a little bit more possibility. But Renee, I thought I don't know if you want to add more to that whole thing of scarcity and abundance, because I love hearing you talk about that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. So scarcity means it comes from fear of never having enough, fear of not being good enough, fear of many different things. So we all have our own self-worth. And sometimes we don't think that we are worthy to receive certain things. Or I just want to hold on to this and I'm not going to get out of my bud. Your little example of the little bud. If I stay inside of that bud, maybe I feel safe and secure, but I'm never going to be able to experience anything else. I can't grow if I stay inside of the bud. Scarcity is I never think that there's going to be any more than what I have right now, and I'm going to hold on to it. And that prevents you from prevailing. Abundance is there's enough in the world for everybody. It's never going to run out. No matter what I do, it will never be depleted. I'm just going to go out there and get what I want, and more will come to me. So that is attached to your mindset. If you're afraid that you're never going to be able to achieve or have anything more than what you have now, you can't grow. And that's going to prevent you from achieving and getting to that destination that you want to be, whether it's, I want to have a company, I want to have 7 streams of income. Who knows what it is? I want to have children one day. I want to find the right mate. If you hold on to all of those scared little beliefs that you have, you can never achieve all of the things that you want to have. So when we're doing vision boards, I always do mine at the end, that week between Christmas and New Year's, because most things are quiet. Everybody's sort of settled. They're tired from Christmas, but they're excited for the new year. So things are a bit quiet. I'll go and figure out, what do I want to work on next year for myself? Personal development, grow my family, grow my business, whatever else it is, strengthen relationships. And I come up with a single word each year to be able to title that vision that I have for myself for that year. So for 2021, it was intention. So I wanted to be intentional about where I spent my time and who I spent my time with and what I spent my money on. So this year, all along with my goals and my family plans and for my business, if it didn't progress my business, I didn't spend time on it. If it didn't strengthen my family and my relationships, I didn't spend time on it. So that's what I meant during the year about, I'm going to grow my abundance so that I can have more of the things that I want to have. And then I've also done a lot of personal development in understanding that you asking for things in this world are not a bad thing. It's not greed as long as you use them for positivity, right? So it's okay to get the things that you want in life as long as you use them for the good.
I love everything you just, well, I mean, I always love everything you just say, Renee. 2 things that made me think of. One is earlier what you were talking about, just that famous quote, and I can't remember whose quote it is, but, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
I love that quote because it's so true. And that goes with the abundance. Renee and I are in a networking group, and there's, many other people who have similar careers or offerings that we do. And there's no fighting. It's really very, in general, pretty, there's plenty of clients for all of us, and whoever, matches me, and that's just what it is. Right. The other thing I wanted to say is that with the vision boards, I think, Renee, I think you physically do yours, right? Like gluing and cutting out. Yeah. I like to do mine in PowerPoint because I like to check in with it every few months and see if anything has fallen off for me. Sometimes I'll surround myself with people I want to work with or experiences I want. And then maybe, 3-6 months from now, I've grown or I've evolved. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I don't need that anymore. Or I don't want that anymore. Or mission accomplished. Thanks. Now I'm replacing with something else that I want to try. So that's the one that I like to do is keep it flexible and then check in with it and see how it's doing.
I print mine out. I use oak tag, old school oak tag, like the kids do in school. And I use magazines and things that I can print from the internet. But there's something about me physically doing it that puts a little bit more tangibleness to it so that I can feel and touch whatever it is that I want to achieve on that vision board. And then I leave it up where I can see it all year long. I can see it every day, my vision board, but I also take a picture with my phone. So when I'm starting to think about, oh, I'm a little bit off track, all of these things that I wanted to do this year, I can go back to my phone because we all have our phones. I can see that. And I do the same thing with affirmations. So my affirmations, how I feel about myself, all the projection that I'm doing, and how I always speak about myself in the future tense. I already have the things that I want, and I list them out, and you can hear about them on all the different social media things, the way that you think and feel about yourself. And even little children, I'm starting to see little children are saying, all it is positive things that you believe to be true about yourself. right? Because that's all about the mindset also. So I have my affirmations in my phone too. And what I did is I created little folders in my iPhone, and then I have my little apps inside of each, but each group is named a different affirmation that I read. So if I'm off track, I open my phone and I can see my affirmations and I read through them, right?
That's
It just
awesome.
puts me back on track.
Yeah, you just well, two things from there. One is that you just made me think about how many times we've been beaten over the head about how we should keep a gratitude journal. Keep a gratitude journal. One more thing to do in your day. But I don't physically keep one because I'm too lazy. But I do every night do my best to, before I go to sleep or when I first wake up in the morning, just go through a list of things I'm grateful for. And they're big things and little things. I'm grateful to have coffee. I'm grateful, that everyone's happy today in my family, or whatever it is. Grateful that we have heat. Grateful that I get to go. That my favorite show's coming back. Whatever it is. The other thing that I wanted to mention, just in my branding consulting that I do for people, because I believe so strongly in vision boards, and because I have this background in advertising and marketing, creative marketing. I create mood boards for people. I usually create 3 mood boards for people after interviewing them. And the reason I do that is similar to what Renee was saying about the vision boards, because once we look at a mood board that's all images and language that you're like, oh my God, that's it, that's me. Or maybe it's a combination of 2. But we always refer back to them in everything we do moving forward, whether it's tagline, logo, website, social media marketing, anything. It always has to tie back to that mood board that we agreed on, because that's your truth, and we want to make sure it stays on task. Yes.
So I did want to, we have a question from the community wanting to know, Renee, and of course answer this, Jennifer with a G, if you have a way that you do yours as well. But Renee, you were speaking of affirmations, and they want to know, how do you create your affirmations?
So I start with however I'm feeling about myself. So that will set my mood. Even if I'm tired, I still have positive affirmations. So it's the universe is working in my favor. It's bringing things to me. I'm always speaking in I am. They all start with I am. So it's, even if I don't feel as though I'm there now, it's the things that I want to achieve and the things that I want brought to me. So through my prayer, my gratitude, the first thing that I do in the morning is a gratitude prayer before your feet hit the floor. Don't even lift your head up. You're grateful that your eyes opened, right? Especially in this pandemic that's going on. So, and be thankful for those things. But then my affirmations sort of flow into that based on the things that I would like to achieve for the day, the things that I would like to achieve for the next month or so. It's, I am the best wife and mother possible for this family. I am the best daughter and sister for this family. The things that I know, and even if I don't feel it physically that day, I know that I'm going to get there by the end of the day, or through some other means. That's my journey of where I'm going. So I'm always telling my brain where I'm going. Your affirmation should be the things that you know to be true about yourself and the things that you would like to develop into and achieve. So that makes it very easy. That's right. Speaking things that we want into existence. And it's there, it's in abundance. And the only way for you to achieve those things is to verbally say them, because your mind then hears it and understands it. So just reading it is not enough. Don't read within your head and you're silent about it. It must be verbally said. And the more emphatic about it you are, and the louder you are about it, the universe really accepts the fact that that's what you want, and it will clear the path. It's almost like the blinders are coming off and all of the little roadblocks are moving out of the way, and your brain is going straight for it, and all of those things that you're willing to accept. And it's also because you're open to receiving things now. You're open to receiving new messages, new contacts, new associations. All of these things are bringing that which we want to you. So you have to just leave behind the negative stuff to make room for all the positivity that you want.
Oh, I love that you said that, because I actually had a question for you, and not wanting to give away what you would be bringing to a client, but just share like a story or two from, and I would like to, being that this is the Juneteenth family and the Juneteenth community, and that we are sisters of color, please share like one story that doesn't serve us from our community, and then one that serves from the whole world's community, because financial, it's not something that just impacts people of color, it impacts everyone.
Yeah, you're right.
Everyone has had stories that may not be high vibrational, but I would just love to kind of like dispel two of those right here, just or give examples for folks that don't really understand what we, because what I do understand is that the three of us here are so aligned in beliefs and in the work that we've done on self, is what I hear. A lot of the self work that has been done, or work with getting rid of our own stories. I can hear how we've worked at them, but I know that I got mine through Be the Tree. I don't know how you got yours, Jennifer, but you got them. And I don't know how you got yours, but Renee, but people may not even know what we really mean. So just being a little for clarity for the community, could you share what, like just two examples?
Yeah. So, for one personally for me is that all of the time that I spent getting an education and where I got my education and the degrees that I have, because I do have I have a bachelor's in economics, and I also have a bachelor's in accounting and information system. And then I received a CPA license, and then I received a license for life insurance and a series of licenses for investments. All of these different things I did for the benefit of making my family happy. And it wasn't necessarily serving me. So it didn't bring me happiness. Yes, it was serving me. And though the lifestyle that I had was all that was expected, but I woke up every day and I wasn't happy to go to work. And I felt depleted every day. And then my physical health started to fail. And then I was afraid that my mental health would follow after that, because our people definitely don't like to speak about mental health. And a lot of times the system doesn't focus on us when we need mental health help. And I didn't want to let myself deride so much that I got into that position, and then I didn't know how to help myself. So I had to sit back one day and make a decision of, is this going to serve me forever? If not, I need to leave. I have to leave. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I have to leave. And I wasn't willing to give up my family. I had already sacrificed all the time that I should have been spending with my family and developing my stronger relationships with my sisters. I have two sisters and my mother. My father passed away in 2006, and my husband and my son. All of that stuff was starting to fade away just because I was miserable in my job and my career. And I couldn't let that happen any longer because I was at risk of losing all of that, including my health. So I had to say, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I have to put a stop to this, and I have to figure something else out. So that was one thing for me. But I do know that in our community, a lot of people, and I feel like this could be for anybody, the capacity that I've worked in finance, and I've seen a lot of companies and I've worked in a lot of companies from behind the scenes. So I was one of the executives driving all of the things that happen and expanding and growing the companies. But in that, the customers are our people. So companies are in business to serve our people. Money comes from our people's pockets and goes to those businesses. So I saw a lot of programs and products being developed that didn't serve our people. And every time that I see a stock market crash and a correction of the economy, I know how that happened. I can see it coming because I know what's driving behind that. And I said, our people don't understand enough about financial literacy. They don't understand what they're signing when they're entering into mortgages. They don't understand what they're signing when they're entering into student loans. They don't understand how credit cards are really working. They don't understand how banking system works in this country. And that's why they're in the position that they're in. But if I can get myself to a position where I can educate them, I can lift them out of that. Right. So I can help serve them better in that capacity. I can get out of the side of hurting them from the big business side and helping them from the, let me hold your hand. I'm going to walk you through this process and I'm going to show you what's happening. And I'm going to pull just like the Matrix, right? You can have the red pill or you can have the blue pill. You can stay where you are and not understand what's really happening to you, or I can give you this pill and you can understand everything that's going on and we can take a different journey. Off-roading. So our people are not necessarily big on life insurance, right? You don't need that until you get older. You're not married. You don't have children. Life insurance is not just for the dead anymore. Life insurance is for wealth building. It's for protecting your family so that there are no GoFundMes. How many celebrities are we seeing in the last 5 years dying without a will? Their estates, all the things that they've worked hard for, going to somebody else other than the people they worked for.
Yes.
Right? I wake up every day to make money so that I can have my family feel comfortable. If I pass away and I don't set them up properly, all of that goes away. And they're now suffering, not only with the loss of me, but a financial loss. What if the family has to break up? How many times have we seen our children go into foster care? Maybe they got separated and one is with this aunt and this one's in Tennessee and that one's in Alabama and this one is, who knows, this one made it to the streets because there was nobody to watch that when nobody else could take them. So that's where my passion comes from. But that's something in our society where sometimes we don't realize how important it is to take care of finances at home early on. And then it just trickles into the next generation. Oh, you're going to die in debt. Everybody dies owing somebody. Well, that doesn't have to be the case.
I love that. So what I hear is that we don't have to do exactly what our family members think if it's not what's going to serve us and have us living life from a high vibrational space. If it's going to have us developing diseases from living life for someone else. And these are sometimes things that can go back many generations. There's even the flip side to that, that when there isn't goals and things put into place, that still has the same outcome sometimes. And that same story could go generations through generations and generations. There's another piece that I would love for you to speak on, Jennifer, as we start to wind down. And then I have a couple of questions for you ladies. First of all, this hour went so quickly. This
I know.
A great conversation. I hope that you ladies will definitely be coming back. Yes. But there's something else that I've learned in life and through the work that I do is that a lot of times we don't recognize our lives. So I got into a lot of my healing work because one, I was unhappy and could feel diseases starting to develop in my body through arthritis and ache and pains. And I knew that I wanted to be a healer and a business person. And I was already starting to make jewelry. But I knew that I had a lot of the traits and different things that come with us through life when we're not taught that we're a brand, that we are a brand ourselves as a person, that, you know, people hear us, they see us, they start to take us for their words. You know, you have interactions with clients and it's like, you know, just being from the community, like you'll get people get on blasting their clients on social media. Yeah, this person complained about this, or they don't want to pay for that, or it's part of your branding. People see that. It makes a difference. So even the stories live in there as well, the things that need to be dispelled. So I know that personal branding, we've spoke a lot about the off-roading and the financial literacy. How do you help with the personal branding, Jennifer? With a G. I love that.
Thank you. Well, I want to talk about for 1 second. I just want to say something that Renee shows inspires me to think of new ideas and things to say. But just in terms of like the family financial trauma, and then I would say this probably kind of talks to what you just said about how a business owner might take someone down on a Facebook page, right? So my experience, I'm Jewish, and so my experience is that my family trauma that dates back is how many places that how many countries we were kicked out of, having to run away without our belongings, without our wealth, without whatever we built up. I mean, I have, my dad's side of the family, people left behind department stores they owned just to get out safely. Some did, some didn't, and then you had to keep rebuilding. So there's this one story that keeps resilience, right? We'll build it back up, but then you're going to lose it again, but then you'll build it back up. So there's this panic of when's the shoe going to drop? And I think from there comes two things. One is that either there's the consistent panic of we'll never have enough. And that's where I would say the stereotype of Jewish people being, stingy comes from, or cheap, is that you're holding on to every penny because you don't know when that's going to not be there for you. But then there's this other side where it's well, I grew up with nothing and I don't want my kids to go through that. So I'm going to go over the top and I'm going to make sure that we have tons of wealth, But then from there, I think that that's where they start being like, and you're going to go to school and you're going to get a great job. So there's this weird circular thing that just keeps happening there. So I just wanted to call that out there. So with that said, and the personal branding and how it helps, I think that when you're a business owner, or if you're a career changer, whatever's happening, you know, again, there's this incredible tie to the financial mental wellness that's either driving you or blocking you. It's just there all the time. So what I like to do with people, again, for me, I don't focus on that. That's Renee's lane. And I wouldn't even, she's holding my hand. I wouldn't even, you don't want me touching any numbers unless it's your birthday or your phone number. You don't want me anywhere near anything related to your wallet. But what I do find is that when I'm able to hear what people say that they want to do or who they are, and more importantly, when I hear what they don't say and what I intuitively get, I mean, I get downloads from the universe. I get hits when I'm working on people's mood boards that make no sense to me. I'm like, you know, there's one woman I got this very strong image of a Viking woman with like a Viking woman, and the next thing you know, her whole mood board ends up being like the woman from Brave and Katniss from Hunger Games, and like it was this whole thing of these women, these strong women with arrows, and her whole thing was about productivity and helping people with productivity, and it just kind of came to me that like it was about hitting that arrow, hitting that bullseye, but because she's such a strong woman, like that's what came to me, you know, as one of her mood board ideas. And that's the part where I think when people see themselves reflected and the possibilities that are going to come from themselves and just acknowledging their own strengths and power and seeing how they're going to be able to use that, I strongly believe that whatever the hell is in your bank account that day doesn't even matter, because you can see and feel that there's this possibility that you're going to, of success that you're going to walk into, because it's so celebrating who you are and your strengths and your goodness. And that's what I like to do with the branding. And I think that's, you know, that's what people, when you're working with them, whether they hire you, they, you know, want to use your business, whatever it is, it's all, again, about this like human connection. And if you're putting yourself out there in this place of like, I know who I am, I feel like I'm going to sing Moana. Isn't that from Moana? I am. I'm going to cry. I love her. But you know, I think when you're putting that into your business, there's that. So just to go back to your original comment of like when business owners take someone down. I mean, I have a client that Renee knows, you know, just started kind of popping up again, and she was a little cuckoo, and I would never call her out in public like that, because like there's nothing I can do. I can't change this woman. I can't change what happened. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I don't want to be energetically connected to that. And of course, it's hard, but I think the business owners that see someone complain about them and then say, "Wow, I'm really, you know, I'm sorry you felt that way. I can't deny that you had that feeling or that experience. Whether I agree with it is not relevant. Let me see how let's talk. Let's, you know, because at the end of the day, everyone just wants to be seen and heard, right? So you go to whatever Dunkin' Donuts and they mess up your coffee. I mean, you know, either you were going to have a bad day and take someone down or not, but it's Dunkin' Donuts' job to be like, let us give you a new coffee. Let's start over this day, right? And then that really resets the tone, and then you've got a successful business with people wanting to come back. But if you're going to battle them, like, what are you going to get out of that? That's an ego-driven thing, and that's a whole other hour, right, Jamie?
I was just going to say, I definitely know that Kathleen and I had already discussed this earlier, definitely bringing you ladies back kind of separate and apart, but I'm looking forward to bringing you back together again, because I believe that there is more to this conversation, because definitely what just came up for me was the alignment of even the energy. We were speaking about manifesting and using these words like can't, and putting that, like what you were saying just now, it doesn't mean as business owners that we won't have bad experiences with clients, but giving it that energy to even take the time to go and blast them, to me, speaks blockages into our own businesses.
And that attracts more of those the bad experiences, right?
Exactly. You'll bring more of those people towards you. The people who may not operate that way may not be interested in working with you now, because they see what you will do to the ones that, don't work. And do you speak highly of the ones that actually do work? highly. And if you're only focusing in these spaces of low vibration, basically that's kind of what you're bringing into your life all the way around. Um, so I definitely want you ladies to share how you can be reached. I want you to close out. I don't want to cut off the conversation. We are at time, but I think it's quite all right if we go over a couple of minutes and you can kind of wrap it up. And I want to ask these questions because I get a gist of how you ladies work together, but how would clients approach you ladies? Do they reach out to one of you specifically, or is there a website, or do they reach one and let you know, hey, Jennifer with a G, I want to work with both you and Renee, or vice versa? And then what does that look like for business owners? The pricing levels, do you ladies offer like sliding scales or payment plans, or, are you affordable for the small business person? Questions like that as you close us out, and share your contact information. And I'll be dropping it in the chat box as well.
Okay, so I'm easy to reach. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and you're dropping in the chat. So I'm first name, last name on Facebook and Instagram, and on LinkedIn, I use my maiden name in the middle, Weaver. So it's Renee Weaver Rekenna. But I also have a Calendly, so you'll drop that as well. It's calendly.com/Renee Rekenna. And when we are booking an appointment, I have a box in there that says, would you like to meet with Jennifer at the same time? So our services are separate, but we can work together because depending on if you're in need of both of our services, you might want to have us bounce ideas off of each other. But otherwise, you're free to have that sit down with us individually. There is no pricing for me. So my model works a lot differently than Jennifer, and she'll go into how hers works. Mine is on the back end. So as I am licensed for life insurance and investment products, I am paid by banks and insurance companies. So I'm an independent broker working with all insurance companies and investment houses out there. So as I work with a family, it doesn't matter what I do for them, I don't charge them. When they're connected with those banks and insurance companies for whatever products they may need, those companies pay me. So I like to work on good value. Most of the time, people just refer me to their friends and family, and I spread my value that way. So it all works out. The universe knows what to do. We all get what we need in the right order of things. But if you think about it, somebody who's in need of financial advice, the last thing I want to do is take more money out of their pocket. Right? So let's start off on the right foot with them. Open mind, open coaching. Let's get on the path with the goals, and the money takes care of itself. So it's nothing that they ever need to worry about.
Hey, I love that. I love that. And Jennifer?
And for me, so my website is Jennifer, spelled with a G, and then with a G, GENNIFER with a G.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. It's Jennifer with a G, Birnbach, BIRNBACH. Those would be the two best ways to start out reaching out to me. And same thing, if you guys want to reach out to me and you want to get in contact with Renee, obviously she and I share information. For me, I do have a sliding scale. At the end of the day, I want to help people. I really do want to help people. And if it's someone who really just doesn't have any funds yet for this kind of thing, I'm always happy to have a free consultation, give you some ideas. In fact, my tagline is every curl in my head is an idea. I can't stop. So, even if it's a free consultation, I give you a couple ideas. Maybe you want to run with it. Maybe you still want my help. Of course, if you work with Renee, you'll definitely be able to afford my pricing. But it is a sliding scale, and I do work with. I also mentor a lot of college students and young professionals, and even older employees and whatnot. Because, like I said, I want everyone to feel free. I want everyone to have success, and however I can help them, I will. And so I have different packages for different things. It's really a personalized experience because everyone needs different things.
Wow, you ladies speak to a lady's heart. So I hope that the community out there will receive this information all in the high vibration that it was delivered with. Hopefully you'll be getting many phone calls or emails or link dot post poking, tagging, whatever we do now, DMing, PMing, all of those good things to get in contact with you. You'll definitely be hearing from me personally, but you'll definitely be hearing from the Juneteenth family to reach out and definitely bring you ladies back, because this hour was definitely not enough for me. One of the goals of Juneteenth is definitely to help with just growth of the community overall, with the financial, with the, I love that you ladies speak about mental health in the conversation of branding and financial literacy, and especially attached to financial literacy, because a lot of the mental diseases that are out there are sometimes just from the life circumstances that people are living in. They're not always chemical imbalances. And a lot of, from certain trainings that I have taken, I kind of understood that depending on where you live, a lot of times the mental health can be about what you've gone through and experienced versus actual chemical things going on in your body.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, excited, excited. Cannot wait to speak behind the scenes again. Hopefully we can meet up later. And is there any last words that you ladies would like to give the community before you depart us today?
I like to tell you, just, a reminder, start paying attention to what you're watching, what you're listening to, who you're surrounding yourself with, what you're telling yourself, all those messages. Start to pay attention, start to catch yourself, and then start to make some choices on how you can put maybe some of those friends or TV shows on the back burner, news, and really start replacing them with the things that are going to bring you to where you deserve to be.
Shay.
Yeah, and I was going to add something similar to write out some affirmations. If it's too hard for you, start with 5 and just write out I am 5 times and then put new words at the end of there. It could be a sentence, it could be another word, but it's going to help you start to frame the mindset of positivity so that you can then ingest and digest all of the good things that are going to be coming into you. And it'll help you with your goals as well. And then by the time that you meet us, you'll be ready.
And make sure you feel those words in your body in a good way, like you really mean it, like they really resonate with you, with your soul.
I was going to say, and I'll add something to that. I'll practice that. If anyone's ever heard of tapping, you can tap different spots, tap the spots of your body that you'd love to activate as you're saying these affirmations, and add that in there in your crown chakras, down your chakras.
Wake
And
it up.
thank you. This was amazing. So
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you.
If you ladies wouldn't mind hanging out in the background, I would love to speak to you before you go. I'm going to take you off the stream and say goodbye to our community. And then
bye, guys.
I'll be a little bit.
See you soon.
All right. Okay, Juneteenth family, thank you so much for joining us today. This was such an amazing and fruitful conversation. Athenia, Kathleen, I, and the rest of the Juneteenth Real Talk team, we are behind the scenes working to bring you many more great topics, but definitely all around growth of our community, financial growth, economic growth is kind of really the focus of where we are in this world. We just had a rough year year plus that our world has gone through. And a lot of us don't know where we're going to end up in the next year or two, but these conversations can help us create our own road, understanding how to go off road, and to understand that we can choose more than one way to go, more than those 2 ways to go. And I look forward to seeing you ladies and gents again next month. And farewell till next time. Bye, Juneteenth family.